And welcome into Bon Appetit. Well, we're in November, but you saw this guy in September. Ron Welch is here, and in September he cooked a wonderful pork dish for the Alabama National Fair. You were in the fair in 2020. You got some prizes again, didn't you?
I did, sir. Yes, I did.
Absolutely. Well, you're a good cook. He's married to Melissa, who's also got Cook of the Year.
She did.
Tough to living with someone like that, huh?
No, it's
No,
not.
it's really neat.
You can tell by looking at me. It's not hard.
And you know what's interesting today is we're going to be talking about side dishes or something that can really kind of enhance your Thanksgiving meal. And Ron, you've got a great thing here with squash and apples.
Yes.
Great combination.
Well, when you think fall, and we're talking about turkeys too, so apple always goes good with turkey.
Yes.
So I had to do something with the apple, and we grew some butternut squash this year in the garden, so we tried that with the apples, and it just turned out to be great. And that put a little few pecans
So
on
I
it.
love this. We tried it. I mean, what made you think about, well, these two things might be good? Did you look it up and find a recipe, I hope?
Well, we did.
Somewhat,
I looked it
but
up
you
on the
enhance it.
internet. But here's the thing too. This is just one variation of it because you can use sweet potato, you can use pumpkin. It all goes together.
Isn't
But
that
I
amazing?
just used the butternut since we had it at the farm. So
That's great. Well, how does it go? How does it come together?
okay, so everybody knows how to bake an apple, but you want it to be whole, and so you take your apple, cut the top off of it, core it, and you want to leave it about a half inch around to give it structure because
Okay.
and picking your apple is important too because you want to pick an apple that's not going to lose its structure when it bakes because it's going to tear down a little bit
Yeah.
and it's got to be firm. So in this case we use Granny Smith, but you can use Honeycrisp as well. That's a good
Mhm.
and a good taste too. It has a great taste to it, but in this case I use the Granny Smith because that's one of my favorites. And you core it, and once you core it out, a very important thing, if you've ever cut apples, you know when you cut them, they start turning brown because the oxygen hits it and it
Oxidation.
starts brown. So a way to stop that and to keep your appearance better, you use orange juice. And we use orange juice in the recipe. So you just, before you start your recipe, you get a small bowl, pour a half a cup of orange juice in there. When you core your apple, and then for presentation too, I take about a third of it and peel it down. Just for presentation, there's no
Huh.
real thing, but you just dip it in that orange juice and it'll keep your apple from turning brown. And it's the citric acid in it,
Yes.
that's what does it. So that's kind of important to me because I want your food has to be visually good
Right.
looking and you want it to be
Smell,
good.
taste, and look.
Yes, so
Yes.
after you get that apple baked, you take your butternut squash. And for the butternut squash, if you've never done one before, the easy way to bake it is you just take it, sit it on the table, and cut it lengthwise. When it opens up, the bottom down here, the bulb will have the seeds in it. Just take a spoon, scoop it out, just like you do in most of the vegetables like that. And you rub some vegetable oil on it, just the cut part, and place it face down on a baking sheet and put it in the oven for about an hour, depending on the size. These are smaller, so they're going to take about 35, 40 minutes, not a whole hour. And you want to watch the skin because it's a thick skin. It's going to be hard to cut it too. So be careful with your fingers, cut the thing, and the skin will blister, and that gives you a sign that it's getting ready. Okay, then just check it, and when it's soft, spoon it out, throw it in a bowl, and we'll go from there. But when you put your apples into the oven, you're going to mix a half a cup of orange juice, a half a cup of water, and a half a cup of brown sugar. And you mix all that up, and what I do is fill the holes up with the juice. And if it runs over, it runs over. But I fill it up and just put it in the oven and let it bake. And again, depending on what the size of apple is and how firm it is,
Mm-hmm.
it's anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour. And I like to bake it a little short to make it crisp. I like it to be crisp, a
Yeah, a
little
little
short.
bite.
And then I mix up my butternut squash. And my butternut squash, to me, it needs a little more flavoring. So and I love vanilla flavoring, so I put that in there. But I also use coconut milk.
Oh, good.
And
Okay.
then I put ground cinnamon in there as well, nutmeg, and this is the nutmeg, and then allspice. Those are just pinches of it, and that's all in the recipe. I got it measured for
Right,
you.
and we're going to,
But
you call me, I'll send you the recipe.
Right. So, but the twist is Alaga products, and in the butternut squash, I put hot sauce in it, and
Ooh,
a couple of 3 little swigs of that. We also use maple syrup, and that just adds a lot more flavor.
mm-hmm.
And part of winning at the fair is the mixture of flavors. You want
Yes,
to add as many flavors as you can.
taste.
And this is the end product. The thing that really tops it off for me is the pecans. You roast the pecans in the oven. Not only does it smell up your kitchen and it smells wonderful, but it adds another flavor to the.
So Ron, on Thanksgiving Day, would you do all this the day of Thanksgiving, or can you do this ahead of time?
You can do this ahead of time. I did this yesterday and warmed it up this morning because I didn't have enough
Okay,
time.
so you do it yesterday, then you can refrigerate it, take it out, just warm it up before lunch. So
No,
as
and-
many things you can do so that you're not just
That's
sitting
right.
there
That's right.
over an
Yes,
oven
sir.
all day on
Yes,
Thanksgiving,
sir.
the better off you are.
Yes, and it does hold up very well, especially when you keep it a little crisp and then warm it up. It finishes your product.
Sir, you did
Did a great job, buddy.
All right.
Well, we're gonna, when we get into early spring, we're gonna get you guys back a little bit and do some peeks at some things we can do in the spring that'll be fun. And just remember this, the recipe is available. Call me at 277-5000, area code 334. Hopefully send me an email address. We'll email it to you and you'll get them pretty quick. And we'll be right back right after this.